What's up? What's up? What's up? It is your girl Survivor Speaks back with another live video as promised. Um, so let's see what are we getting into this afternoon? What are we getting into this afternoon? All right. So what do we get into this afternoon? In this video, we will be reading and discussing the deposition of Daystar Peterson, professionally known as Tory Lanez. This deposition was taken on April 9, 2025 in Tehachapi, California. Hope I said that right and didn't butcher it up too much. So this testimony reveals key statements, legal strategy, and surprising moments from hours of questioning under oath. We analyzed the most important exchanges, so we're going to talk about it down in the chat. Um, so we analyzed the most important exchanges, what they mean for the case, and how this deposition could impact the future proceedings, which the proceedings are currently going on right now as we speak. Of course, Saturday, so not today. That doesn't mean that they couldn't continue with court, but more times than often, the judge hardly ever resumes a case on a Saturday. So subscribe, hit the like and subscribe button. For more in-depth true crime, legal investigations. So this doubles because this is a true crime story. It's a crime. And it's jam packed with celebrities. So shout out to my head managing mod, Ali, for getting these documents to me. I appreciate all that she does, her and baby A. And so I thank you, thank you, thank you. You know what? I did not, Ali, I forgot to tell for always that we were live. If you could just go drop it into her IG story, or if you have a different way. I didn't get to send it to her. I didn't send it to the normal people that I normally send it to either. Let me just see something really quick. All right. And we're gonna get started with this reading. Uh okay. All right, so we're going to be reading from the official transcript from the deposition. I heard that, Tory was kind of out of control in this deposition. So we're going to see in a minute exactly what Tory Lanez did. If you could just hit that like button for me or the thumbs down, it's fine, whatever. The last video that I put up that I did earlier today, if you can go over there and hype that video up so that I get some hype points. It's a free way to support the show. Liking the video or disliking the video is a free way to support the show, the channel. I greatly appreciate it. You can also donate monetarily if you want to. The mods drop the link in the chat periodically as the chat goes on, and there and the Chime and Cash App information is right here on the screen as well. So I'm going to roll my intro and all right, we can skip the disclaimer for today. I'm not using anyone else's video. And so we'll be right back right after that. Survival Speaks is the name at the end of the day. People love me or hate me, I don't care either way. Yes, cancer busted through like a thief in the night. A cancer's ass was knocked out before the end of the fight. A champion coming through, knocking everything out. This is how if you see, I do nothing for clout. Just like cancer, I'll let nothing take me out. So be respectful when you step foot inside of my house. Or prepare to have your ass escorted on out. So hop up out the bushes, wrap your feet, take a seat, and get comfortable and chill with your girl. Survivor Speaks, yeah. Hey, hey, hey. Who, what? I'm Survivor Speak. What time is it? What time is it? It's time for you to hit that like and subscribe button and turn on that notification bell so you get a notification each and every time that I go live. Yeah, it's Survivor Speaks and it's showtime, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for being here. Peace, peace, peace. This video is being shown to you under Section 107 of the Copyright Act of 1976. Allowances is made for fair use for purposes such as criticism, comment, news reporting, education, and research. Fair use is permitted by copyright statute that might otherwise be infringing. Smash that like button. Let's go. This live stream is being sponsored by our partner, W. W is an energy drink loaded with vitamins and nootropics. W was formulated for anyone who wants to focus without jitters or a crash. Just mix one rounded scoop with 6 to 8 ounces of cold water and shake. Unlike other energy drinks, W prides themselves on actually developing a clean energy formula that is free from fillers, maltodextrin, and artificial coloring. It comes in a variety of flavors. Go over to www.w.gg, that's www.w.gg, and use my code SurvivorSpeaks to get 10% off of your first order. What are you waiting for? And we are back. What's going on, y'all? So I'm going to bring this right over so we can get into it. All right. So, oh goodness, that's not what I want to get into. I was looking at something else. So, as I stated, this is from this current 2025, from April 2025. It's a deposition hearing for the Megan Thee Stallion versus Milagro Graham's case, but this is a deposition of Tory Lanez because he is the reason why that whole case is a thing. So we're going to get into that. Just give me 1 minute. Why is this in? Okay. Yeah. All right, so let me bring it over here and see what we're going to do. And there we are. All right. So let's get started. So good morning. We are on the record at 10:06 a.m. Pacific time on April 9th, 2025 to begin the deposition of Daystar Peterson, a.k.a. Or professionally known as Tory Lanez in the matter of Megan Pete versus Milagro Elizabeth Cooper. She's known as Milagros Grams on most platforms. So the venue for this case is in the United States District Court, Southern District of Florida. The case number is, they give a case number. I'm not reading all that. So this, the deposition took place via Zoom conference. It tells you who the legal videographer was. I want to get to the meat and potatoes. All of this stuff, whatever. All right, let's get to the So they had to swear in a witness. So I don't know where he gets started at with shenanigans. So let's see if it starts right here. Um, The court reporter says, hello, my name is Ronnie Zavosky. I'm a certified shorthand reporter licensed in the state of California. My license number is 12359. I will now swear in the witness, Daystar Peterson, having first declared under penalty of perjury to tell the truth, was examined and testified as follows. The witness says, yes, ma'am. Examination is going to be done by Ms. Henderson. All right. Good morning, Mr. Peterson. He says, good morning. As I stated already, my name is Mary Henderson. I'm an attorney who represents Miss Megan Pete in this action. Could I please get you to state your full name for the record? He says Daystar Peterson. And do you also go by the name of Tory Lanez? Professionally, he says yes. Now, where are you doing this deposition today? That's how he said in prison. Tehachapi CCI. Okay, and before we got on the record, we discussed that there's a background behind you, but obviously that's a virtual background, and that is not actually the room within which you are taking this deposition. Is that right? He says, well, I am taking this deposition in this room. The background doesn't change the room. Child. Okay. He just gonna, I was like, oh man, he's gonna act a little civilized at the beginning. But it didn't warrant that. She's just trying to make sure that everybody that's watching knows that that is not actually what the room looks like, and they put up some type of background on Zoom. But of course, Tory Lanez said what he said. Okay, child, I hope this ain't gonna be a long one. Anyway, so she says, I guess I could agree to that. I don't know what it is. It was placed here before I got here. Um, oh, that's what. Okay, so wait a minute. I need to go back because I skipped a question. So she says correct, but you would agree that that's a virtual background behind you. And then he says, I guess I could agree to that. I don't know what it is. It was placed here before I got here. She says, okay, and how long have you been in Tehachapi prison for? He said, I would believe about a year and some change, maybe a year and 6 months, something like that. She says, okay, so before we get started with some questions, I'm going to take you through some admonitions. Do you understand that you are giving testimony today under oath, under penalty or perjury? He says, I do. Do you understand that you are the same oath? You're under the same oath today as if you were testifying in court. He says, I understand. I will be asking you some questions, and sometimes your counsel, who is Mr. Hayden, might object. But unless your counsel advises you not to answer, you still need to answer my questions. Do you understand that? He said, no, I don't understand that. Tory, Tory. He says, no, I don't understand that. She says, okay. So you have counsel with you here today for this deposition. Is that correct? He said, I believe so. She said, okay. And who is your counsel for this deposition today? He said, out of all the four faces I'm looking at, I would imagine it's Michael Hayden. She says, okay. And if Mr. Hayden instructs you not to answer a question, then you will not. He said, I will not be answering. She says, then you will not be answering. However, there are other objections that he or other counsel may make. And unless you are specifically advised not to answer a question, you understand that you need to answer my question. She says, do you understand that? He said, no, I don't understand. She said, why you are saying that? Why you are saying that? Oh, he says, no, I don't understand why you are saying that. Mr. Hayden says, if I could help, she is just making a record. This is strictly for the record, Mr. Peterson. I will be objecting and instructing you not to answer about anything Fifth Amendment or privileged, if that makes sense. The witness says, absolutely. Um, Ms. Henderson says, however, there are other objections he may like. Speculation or assumes facts not in evidence, just as examples. And if he makes that objection, you still need to answer my question. Do you understand? He said, I don't see why I would answer any questions after my lawyer objected to it. I don't understand that. Mr. Hayden says, well, no, Mr. Peterson. If it's Fifth Amendment privilege, then I will instruct you not to answer because that could self-incriminate you. But if it's a general question like, is the sky blue? You can answer that. Even if I object to it, you would answer to it. Does that make sense? Nothing to incriminate. To incriminate you, he says. The witness says, I understand what you are saying. I just don't understand why I would have to answer to something you objected to. Am I? Mr. Hayden says, I got you. I got you. An objection is stated just for the record. That's your counsel or opposing counsel putting their 2 cents into why it should be objected for the record. But and the witness cuts him off. Tori cuts him off and says, listen, I can just tell Marie is going to hate me this whole interview. I can just see her face like, oh, this guy's just going to be difficult. Tori, where we going with this? What? So Mr. Hayden says, you are good. You are good. We'll get it done. The witness said, Tori says, come on, let's go. Let's go, guys. What in the heck? Okay, so now we have Miss Henderson who's asking the questions. Okay, so moving on from the questions piece of it, we do have a court reporter taking all of this down. And so the result of that will be a written transcript of the deposition. Because of that, it's important that you give audible, verbal answers to my questions to keep things. She's cut off. Can I ask you a question, Miss Marie Henderson? I think it's Marie, or your name is Henderson. Is the last name? She says yes. Is it okay if I call you Miss Henderson? She says yes. He said, all right, Miss Henderson, are you planning on publicizing any of this? I just would like for you to say on the record. She says, okay, so first I'm going to set some ground rules before I answer your question so you understand how this works. One, I was in the middle of telling you that a court reporter is taking all of this down and there will be a written record. So because of that, first you need to give verbal. He cuts her off. She keeps going. Audible answers such as yes or no, rather than nodding your head. And second, and most importantly, as exhibited now, you cannot interrupt my question so that the reporter can get a clear record. So I would ask for you to wait for me to finish my question before you answer, and I will do the same and give you the same courtesy. Also, as your attorney will advise you, I am the one asking questions today. However, I will provide you with the admonition that this deposition is subject to a protective order. One more thing. Do I have my First Amendment right, freedom of speech? Mr. Hayden says you have your First Amendment right, freedom of speech, but you also, he cuts him off. Then why am I not allowed to ask her a question? What is Tori talking about here? Tori is a whole mess. Hold on a minute, y'all. Hold on a minute. All right, so then so his attorney says, well, this is just proceedings. She's just explaining the rules of how a deposition operates. The witness, he says she's the witness, or well, Tori says she's explaining them as if I'm not allowed to ask a question or say anything. I just would like to know. His attorney says, well, right now you are a witness being questioned, and it's my job to object if there's anything that is going to incriminate you, and that's what I'm going to do. So she's entitled to ask whatever. Tori cuts him off. I understand that. Michael Hayden. I guess what my question is like, does that prohibit me from being able to ask a question? His attorney says we can take breaks and you can ask questions administratively, but in the line of questioning, we have to let opposing counsel. He cuts him off. Chow. Tori's not trying to hear this today. Well, he's not trying to hear this on another day or another day after this. Tory Lanez is just doing what he's doing, I guess. So Tori says, oh, given that we let her ask all the questions she wants to ask, she can ask questions until her face turns blue. I'm just asking, am I allowed to ask her a question? Mr. Hayden says, you can't ask her questions. Tori says, does anything that she is saying prohibit me from asking a question? His attorney says, you can't respond to a question with a question. I can object and I can instruct you not to answer anything she asks. Even if I object to it and don't instruct you not to answer, you have to answer. But later, he says, I understand. Mr. Hayden says, yeah, it's just a procedure. He said, understandable. So in a time like this, when I'm asking her a simple question about whether or not this is going to be publicized or not, it's not coming from me responding to a question she asks me. I'm asking her a simple question. Am I prohibited from asking her a simple question? Not answering back to her question, but am I prohibited from asking Ms. Henderson a question? His attorney says, I'll let her answer. I'll let her answer that right now. She can answer it. So Ms. Henderson said, so I am providing you admonitions and ground rules as to how this deposition is working. And before you cut me off, I was in the middle of answering the question that you did ask. If you want to proceed with this deposition by asking me questions rather than answers, the record will reflect that. But as a courtesy to the court reporter, I ask that you not interrupt and wait for us to finish our question and or, in this instance, my answer before you answer. And so, as you were asking, there is a protective order in this case. As your counsel either has or will explain to you, that designates this deposition as highly confidential for the first 30 days. And then counsel can seek to de-designate the deposition. Any other questions you have, I direct you to ask your counsel those questions. Do you understand? He said, well, my counsel wouldn't be the one leaking the video. So I think it's better said for you. No. He asked a question, so it's no. She said, I'm not going to respond to that with any sort of, and then he cuts her off and says any sort of, and then he starts sipping of water. I see what you are doing. I see what you are doing, Mr. Peterson. I see what you are doing too. Tori is chow. She says, I know this is fun for you. Mr. Hayden, we know the concern. We understand the concern. It's, but Tori says, I just want her to tell the truth. Like that is what this deposition is for. It's for you guys to get me on video to, to do what you guys have been doing for the last couple of years to fake some sort of narrative. But go ahead. Ms. Henderson says, okay, if you answer a question, Mr. Peterson, myself and anyone who reads the deposition transcript will assume that you understood the question. Do you understand that? He says, no. God daggone it, Tori. Tori is in here cutting up in this deposition. What? He says, no. She says, okay, so if you don't understand a question, will you ask for clarification? He said, depending on how I feel at that moment. She says, okay, as your counsel already told you, we can take a break at any time, except we can't break while a question is pending. So you need to answer my question before we take a break. Do you understand that? He said, I would like no breaks, is what he said. Kevin Gates, I don't get tired. Look. Tory Lanez is why is he doing this? Okay. No, he didn't mention Kevin Gates, but he did. She said, well, unfortunately for our court reporter who is diligently taking down the record, she will be requesting breaks. Do you understand that? He said, hey, for Ronnie's sake, she can get as many breaks as she wants. She's a very pleasant lady. And so she says, have you taken any drugs or medication that could impair your ability to hear, understand, or answer my questions truthfully today? He says, absolutely not. She says, if I refer you to Miss Pete as Megan the Stallion, do you understand that to be the same person? He said, I would like for you to refer to her as her regular name that you are putting on the file. I wouldn't like you to refer to anybody as their aliases or anything, as this is a deposition that requires that professionally, says not understandable what he said here. Hold on a minute. So it says that they're reconnecting to my channels. Let me see if it stops. Okay, so it's saying that it's on, so I don't know why I keep getting stuff like that. Now, give me 1 second. Let me just answer a question really quick. Okay. Allie, I know you stepped away, but if you step back, can you let me know if it's all good on your end? I don't know what's going on with Restream, but so let's go. So he says something that is not understandable. You can't understand. So it says, so I would like for you to just like say her name as it is on file. She says, okay, that's not exactly my question. My question is if I refer to her as Megan the Stallion. And I believe he cuts her off again. Give me 1 second. All right. Let me just see something really quick here. I don't know how to work nothing. I'm telling you. How do I get to the? Oh. All right, and so now let's go. So she's asking him a question. She said, "Okay, so that's not exactly my question. My question is, if I refer to her as Meg the Stallion," he said, "I answered. Do you understand her?" He said, "I answered." She said, "As a person, that's my answer." So she said, "Okay, we have a record of that." Mr. Peterson, if I may, in a document or a piece of evidence, it may refer to her as Megan Thee Stallion. That's why counsel is suggesting that. That's the only reason. This was said to him by his attorney. And so Tori says, well, I'm asking counsel to clarify and make sure that they say her regular name. Mr. Hayden says, noted. The witness says, thank you. And so Miss Henderson picks back up with her questioning. And as Mr. Hayden explained, there may be documents that refer to Megan Thee Stallion. So my question to you again is, do you understand that Miss Pete also goes professionally as Megan Thee Stallion? He said, are you telling me or are you asking me? She said, I'm asking you. Do you know whether Miss Pete is also professionally known as Megan Thee Stallion? There's a lot of Miss Pete's in this world, he says. Which Miss Pete are you talking about? Tori, I'm not doing this with you. Not doing this with Tori. Yo. Wait a whole minute. Y'all, you mean to tell me Tori was in this place acting up like, oh my gosh, in this deposition acting up like this? My God, is this worse than the Lil Wayne or Justin Bieber deposition up until this point already? Did he like surpass them? What's up for always? I'm glad you're here, because this is, when I tell you this is a mess, this is a mess. I thought I had, I'm sorry, I thought I had sent you an inbox to tell you that I was going live, and I have already started reading. I just want you to know that Tory Lanez is unhinged in this deposition. They took this deposition on April 9th of 2025. In the case of Meg Thee Stallion, Meg versus Milagro Grams, but they are deposing Tory Lanez in this deposition, and he is he is not cooperating. Yeah, he played himself, but Oh my gosh, it's just like I never listened to it. I never heard anybody go through it. Um, Allie was telling me about it, and we were supposed to be going through it. And so Allie, shout out to Allie for getting this paperwork to me. Um, and so now I'm going through this, and then I'm gonna look up what you just sent me a little while ago. So here we go. If you could share it out, that would be good. If you could share out the thumbnail or whatever. But anyway, I'm gonna move on. So now she's asking the question. This is the on the prosecution side, Miss Henderson. She's asking him questions. He is not trying to help him. And I think this is the reason why. I want to say they said after this deposition, he charged him with contempt. So like if people wasn't in the courtroom when, or because this was done over Zoom. So if nobody ever saw these court documents or heard somebody go through them, maybe they should. It'll clear up a lot of what people are thinking. And they're thinking like it's just an extension of whatever Meg is complaining about. Meg is suing Milagros. No, this has nothing. This has something to do with the case, but they're asking him questions. And right from the beginning, he's not trying to have that. She's on for always, but she may have stepped away. It's baby A. She's so she'll jump in. So just in case she don't say hi right away, she has it on. But yeah, she has to, tend to baby A. I just wanted to let you know that. All right, so she says, okay, Megan Pete, do you understand her to also be known as Meg the Stallion? He says, this is Tori. Hey, Michael Hayden, if it's possible, could you Google how many Megan Petes there are in the world? Oh my gosh, child. Lord, what is he doing? So Mr. Hayden, his attorney says, well, no, she's just asking for a nexus between the Megan Pete in this case, the plaintiff in this case, in this specific case, and going by the professional moniker of Megan the Stallion. It's not a trick or anything. Believe me, she's just trying to, and he cuts his attorney off. He's been cutting them off now since the beginning. I don't know why. The judge has not stepped in and said anything as of yet, but Tori has been playing a game with them and going nonstop since the beginning of this. This is no wonder Allie was like, no, you gotta do this. Well, you have to, cause woo. So Tori says, I didn't think it was. I was just asking her to clarify her. What? So his attorney says, I'm just trying to speed things up a little bit. I mean, we can, give them. Tori cuts him off. No, we have all day. I have 10 years in here. I got, oh my gosh. So his attorney says, I got you. I'm on your side. I got you. Tori says, we got all day. Child, I'm not doing this with Tory Lanez. What in the whole entire world is wrong with him? Oh my gosh. So, okay. So now the question says, so Miss Henderson, who is for the prosecution, she comes back and takes over again. She says, yep, we do. We do have all 7 hours on the record. And if you like to use all of it, I am here to use them. Oh, okay. And he answered, I would love to use them all. Use all 7. She said, I am sure you do. All right. He said, all 7. So she says, you know what? Before I go to my questions and the rest of the admonitions, I'm done with the admonitions. But before I go to my questions, are you aware that Unite the People released a statement to the media regarding your deposition here today? Oh, that's a big one. That is a big one. I think Unite the People is the firm that initially took, if I'm not mistaken, that is the people that was actually providing legal assistance to Milagros. So, oh, I know what she's implying. Wow. So he said, I'm unaware. She says, you are unaware of that? She says, okay, did you? He cut her off. I don't even know if that's true. He didn't say he didn't know who they were. He said he didn't know if that was true. So she says, okay, did you discuss or authorize or approve any statement made by Unite the People regarding your deposition today? He says, I'm sorry. Reiterate that question. She said, did you discuss, approve, or authorize any statement, any statement made by Unite the People regarding your deposition here today? He said, I would like the definitions of discuss, approve, and whatever you said. Can you give me those, please? Oh my gosh. Why is Chow? Chow. I'm gonna Chow. I'm gonna need a drink tonight. Why did Tori do? He knew once she answered him that question, it's over for him, because either he wrote a statement and gave it to his father, or he authorized his father to give it to him. But I believe these are the same people that were working with Milagros. Also, so he asked her, he said he would like the definition of discuss and approve. Child, Tori need to stop. And so she said, okay, so you don't understand the word discuss? And he says, no, but I would like the definitions. I want your definition because you are asking me the questions. So I would like your definitions, Miss Henderson. Thank you. He is being a real, and this is probably why they said that he is not going to get out early. Wow. And this has nothing to do with how they're trying to spin it, like to say that because of Megan, all he's here to do is answer some questions. But I know the questions may be hard, but it is what it is. So she says, okay, so did you speak with or talk to anyone at Unite the People about your deposition? He said, no, I'm asking you for the definition of discuss. She just asked you in a different way, fool. He says, can you give me that, please, from Webster? Oh my gosh. She says, I'm the one asking questions, so I'm going to. He cut her off and says, I need to comprehend them. She said, this is unresponsive. He said, am I tripping, or do I not need to understand everything she says? So she says, okay. He says, I need to understand it. Correct? Am I mugging? Yeah. I need to know what she's saying. Ciao. So she says, so you do understand that this deposition may be played in front of a jury and they will be watching this. And so if you wanted to leave the record as you don't understand my question, he says, absolutely. She says, he cut her off. I'm not leaving the record as I don't understand you. You are talking over me when you asked me not to cut you off. I'm not saying I don't understand. Okay, so you just contradicted yourself, because that's exactly what you said. He said, I'm asking you to clarify. There are two big differences in clarifying and not understanding. So if she's clarifying to make you understand. Is it mean? Or what? She says, okay, I will clarify. He said, in fact, I will believe that clarifying is so that you can understand more. You did. Child, am I wrong, guys? It's a question that he asked. Mr. Peterson, did you talk to anyone at Unite the People about a statement regarding your your deposition. He says, you still have not given me the definitions of the words that you first asked. She's asking a different question now. So, oh my gosh. He said, and I'm asking for those so I could give you a clear and understandable answer. She says, okay, my question was, did you talk to anyone at at Unite the People about a statement regarding your deposition? He said, that wasn't your question. I would like for you to, she said, that's my question now. He said, I would like to ask the question the way that you first asked the question. I'm supposed to answer the question. She said, I'm going to move strike as non-responsive, and I'm going to move on. He said, I responded. You didn't. You just don't strike it. Oh my gosh. Ciao. She says, I'm going to mark as next in order. He says, I want this to be known on record that I don't trust this woman. I know that the fact that these people are the same people who have me in prison wrongfully convicted of a crime that I did not commit, that no physical evidence even says that I have. I don't trust this woman. So when I'm asking for a clarification on things, it's not because I'm trying to be difficult or extra of any sort. I just have to fine comb everything because the people that this woman works for are despicable and they do things at the expense of someone else's freedom from their own personal gain. So I don't trust this woman. So if I seem like I'm coming off in any kind of way, I'm trying to be as respectful as I can. I just want all the clarity. And if that comes off to anybody like I'm doing something that's undermining or some sort of way like that, I apologize. But I just want my clarity. So, Ms. Henderson, I'm just letting you know that's where the basis of my questions come from when I'm asking you to clarify things. Ms. Henderson says, okay, well, my question before you stated that was, what does she mean? I'm on now. Somebody, no. Let me see if I still have this. Hold on. Somebody. She talking about she. Let me see. Okay. So Ms. Henderson says, okay, well, my question before you stated that was, did you talk to anyone at Unite the People about a statement regarding your deposition? And so I will be moving to strike the answer as non-responsive. Ms. Henderson says, and now I would like to move on by marking as next in order, which I believe Ronnie is Exhibit 39. I'm going to ask the tech to pull up tab 2. And I'd like you to scroll down to the next page. Okay. And if for purposes of everyone, if you could zoom into, okay, Mr. Peterson, do you see, okay, what's up, Lynn Ali? What's up, Lynn Ali? We're reading the deposition of Tory Lanez. He is in rare form. This case was deposed on April 9th of this year, 2025. And he is in rare form. Hopefully he simmers down, but we're going to read and we're going to see. I knew Allie was right on. She got me and Allie talked about this like a couple months ago, but I didn't look for the paperwork because she said she was going to get it, and then she sent it to me the other night. Finally, because both of us had got, lives going to different directions. It's crazy, but yeah, we're here, and this is very interesting. I don't know what's wrong with Tory Lanez. I don't know if he on some. He said he not, because they asked him that. Is he on any type of medication? No, he just being Tory. He don't trust y'all. That's what he said. All right, so let's go. So she says, Mr. Peterson, do you see that this is a statement titled Unite the People, Inc. CEO Caesar McDowell sets the record straight on deposition in regarding Tory Lanez. Do you see that? He says, I'm sorry. The way that this screen is, like, it's just so small, I can't see anything. So Miss Henderson says, Mr. Jin, if you could zoom in. Tori says, I know you think that's solving the problem, but I swear on my side, it's not. Can you just read me whatever document that you are talking about, please? Oh my goodness. Why would she read it to you and not try to make sure that that you are able to see and read it for yourself? Because you keep asking her questions that makes no sense. You know what disgust means. Like, come on now. He's doing too much. Allie, you was just right on it. This is crazy. So let's go. So she says, okay, I will read the document, but if you'd like to take a break so that you can change the settings of your Zoom, he said, I can't change the settings. I'm in prison and this is their equipment. I'm not going to get a write-up for touching the equipment. I am not allowed to. She says, I understand. My question is, do you see any document in front of the screen or do you see no document? He says, I see a bunch of words, but I cannot make out what they are because they're too small. And I guess it's just the way this screen is set up. So I'm asking you if maybe you can just read whatever it is that you are talking about. She know why she not just reading it and she wants you to see it because you acting like a god-dag-on fool. Lord. Ciao. So, she says, okay, so this is a statement titled Unite the People, Inc. CEO Caesar McDowell sets the record straight on deposition in this regarding Tory Lanez. And this statement reads in part, Tory Lanez is not a party to Megan Thee Stallion's lawsuit against UTP client Milagro Cooper. I heard that these people are the ones that took Milagro's case pro bono, but I'm wondering if they still are because they said something about either they dropped her or now they're asking her for money based on, so she got too much going on. So like it kind of like exceeded the amount of money that they would use for somebody that they helped. And they had also advised Milagro to just write up a apology and just apologize to Meg and see if they could go ahead and settle this outside of court. She didn't want to do that, but what she did continue to do, and I know she should know because she's been in this content creation world for a very long time. So what she decided to do was to go to other platforms and talk about this case, but further defame Meg Thee Stallion's name. So, like, you know, when people sit around saying they don't understand why Meg is going this hard for Milagros, well, she lost a lot of money and they were able to show them the money and stuff that she lost. And it cost $240,000 a week where she went and stayed in that mental facility. Because remember, she had all these people coming at her on behalf of Milagro. And she said that she felt like, you know, she wanted to unalive herself. And Milagro, what does she do? She goes on there and tells her, you should just do that. That's nothing to say to anybody. That was so wrong. And if people can't get past the fact that Megan is Megan, and celebrities are human beings, anybody that's having a time with their mental and they say things like that, that's the worst thing that you can tell somebody, to go on ahead and do it. Don't just talk about it, just go on ahead and let yourself go. Go on ahead and unalive yourself. That alone is crazy. Then to create fake videos of this woman having relations with a man and it's fake. and then you sharing it out that just scratches the surface of what happened with Meg. But people seem to think because she's Meg, she has money, why is she going after this person? You can't just, I can't sit on my platform and just defame people all day long. Some people are going to respond. And so now they're turning it into a Rock Nation thing. Rock Nation, Rock Nation, Rock Nation. Meg did not have was not signed like under the umbrella of Rock Nation till way after this. So it's just crazy, the excuses that we make to disregard people's feelings because they got money. Why is she coming after little old me? Okay, so just shut up about her. Don't say nothing else. The woman couldn't do it, and even now she's still talking. So this is what you got. So anyway, let's get back to this crazy behind Tory Lanez. So she says, are showing you the statement. Are you aware that UTP released that statement? So she's showing you the statement. Do you believe that they really? He said, you are not showing me anything because I can't see what you were talking about. So you see why she just didn't want to read it? Because now look at what he's coming back and saying. He said he gonna play with them. He want them to take up all 7 hours. I'm just waiting for the judge to step in, because at this point he done went too far already. So anyway, let's go. He said, you are not showing me anything because I can't see what you are talking about. However, I mean, you are saying, am I aware? Again, I'm not aware of anything, and I can't see what you are talking about. And that's what she asked you. What she asked you before she continued to read. Come on, son. So she says, okay, if you can't see what I'm talking about, then why don't we take a break? Go off the record and we will contact the prison to change the settings so you can see these exhibits. He says, okay. And so the videographer says, we're now off the record. The time is 10:26 a.m. Pacific time. They took a recess. So now they're back on the record. So Ms. Henderson says, okay, so over the break, we had Counselor Hernandez, who works at the prison, come in and check the settings on the computer. And we pulled up the same document, Exhibit 39, and asked if he could read it. He confirmed it was legible and that he could see the document, and he read the first lines of the document. So I'm going to pull up Exhibit 39 back on the screen. And if you could zoom in on the second page, Mr. Jen, Ms. Henderson says, Mr. Peterson, the very last paragraph of this statement says, lastly, if you know Tory Lanez, how I do, good luck trying to get him to, quote, testify to anything. It's just not what he does. And he definitely did not, quote, agree to testify now. And so this is Tory Lanez. He says, I don't know that says that. Still, you pulled up the same thing at the same size, and I still can't read it. You ask somebody else for their opinion on whether they can read it. That person has glasses on their face, and that person is standing right next to the screen. You ask them not only to read something here, you asked him to read the most boldest part of this and not anything else. So again, you lose. I'm sorry. I cannot. Yeah, she did. She told her to go on ahead and go alive herself because Meg, had said it. And yeah, she told her, don't. And I'm paraphrasing, but it was something like, don't just talk about it, do it. Then she went on to make statements about her parents, no alleged or heard or nothing. And so she just thinks that she's protected by free speech. Free speech doesn't protect that. You're not, and the things that she said, wow, it was a lot. We went over that case over here. I was like, what? So yeah, he says that she loses. She says, okay, so I'm just asking, can you hear me all right, Mr. Peterson? He says, sometimes. She said, okay, can you hear me when I say that there was a statement released that said, lastly, if you know Tory Lanez, how I do, good luck trying to get him to testify to. He cuts her off. I cannot see that statement. I cannot attest to whatever you are talking about. I'm sorry. She says, all right, that's not my question. My question was, can you hear me when I say, lastly, if you know Tory Lanez, how I do, good luck trying to get him to testify to anything. It's just not what he does. Can you hear that? He said, I can hear you. She says, okay, will you agree that's what you are doing today, right now? He said, would I agree that I'm doing what today, right now? Are you evading the testimony right now? He said, evading the testimony. I think I'm here for a testimony. The witness says, Michael, is this not a hearing? Mr. Hayden, this is a hearing. That's Mr. Hayden is Tory Lanez's attorney. So then Tory says, is this not a testimony I'm doing? And Miss Henderson says, okay. And he cuts her off. Excuse me, Miss Henderson. I'm talking to my lawyer. Then he says, Michael Hayden, is this not a testimony that I'm doing right now? Mr. Hayden says, well, it's a deposition. You have to answer the questions. Tory says, but in some sort of way, my words will make up what they call a testimony, correct? Because I'm under oath. He said, exactly. He said, oh, am I wrong? Am I wrong? He said, you are partially right. But at the same time, he cuts him off. So when she asked me, am I evading a testimony? What does that mean? Mr. Hayden said, you're not answering the questions being asked is what she means. He said, okay. So explain this again, Mr. Henderson. Miss Henderson. She said, his attorney says, if you can't see it and you have no personal knowledge, or if you have no personal knowledge of it, you just say no. You know, if you've never seen this. Miss Henderson says, and that's not my question. And in fact, we can put down Exhibit 39. Mr. Peterson, did you know that Unite the People put out a statement that read, if you know Tory Lanez, how I do, good luck trying to get him to testify to anything. It's just not what he does. He says, I do not recall. She says, okay, so you don't recall one way or the other whether Unite the People released that. He says, you are adding extra things to what I said. I said, I don't recall. She says, okay, so my question is, you do not recall one way or the other whether Unite the People released a statement regarding your testimony here today. He says, I do not recall. She said, okay, Mr. Peterson, if I refer to the defendant in this action, he said, how come I can't see myself? I like to look at myself. She said, okay. He said, I like to see the trees behind me. She says, okay. He said, it makes me feel good. Makes me feel like, she says, so then let's take a break and go off the record and get Mr. Hernandez. He said, we don't need to go off the record. I would like to see myself in the camera. He said, I don't know why I can't see the actions that my body is doing if I'm being recorded. He says, Mr. Hayden, am I wrong? I mean, shouldn't I be able to see myself? Mr. Hayden said, I'm not sure. I'm not sure if it's in the scope of the rules, but he cuts him off and says, they had me seeing myself before. I was looking pretty good, pretty damn good, if you ask me. Ms. Henderson says, okay, I'm going to go off the record. The videographer says, all right, we're now off the record. The time is 10:36 a.m. Pacific time. So basically, Tory Lanez is being a complete a-hole. But what he is doing is actually, because he's not thinking and he wants to act like he's the smartest tool in the shed, you are actually doing the exact thing that Unite the People made a statement about in the beginning. So I don't even think that he knows or realizes that that's what it is. But you could then think his daddy. You could just listen to his daddy speak and understand, why he's so arrogant and why he's angry. But okay. So Ms. Henderson says, Okay, so my last question, which I did not get through before you interrupted, was if I refer to the defendant in his action as Milagro or Miss Cooper, do you understand that to be the same person? He says yes. Oh, but when she said that about Meg, you said you didn't you were you want them to just only refer to her by Meg and Pete. Child. And Milagro Grant is actually the person that you're claiming, and that she's claiming that you two don't know each other. Child. So she says, okay, have you ever been deposed before? He said, have I ever been what? She said, deposed before. He says, I think so. Have you ever been in a deposition that we're doing today? Have you ever done a deposition like this before? He says, I'm not sure. I think so, though. Okay, when you say you think so, he said, I think so. I don't know else how to explain I think so, but I think so. She said, okay, in what case? He said, you are a lawyer, Miss Henderson. Let's be real. Let's be smart. Come on. In what case were you deposed? He says, I don't know. That's why I said, I think so. That's what, like, don't you know the definition of this? So I think it's supposed to be, I think so. I get it. You're not good with depositions. Oh, shoot. You didn't want to give me the definition to the other, he says, SHIT-ish either. In what? He cuts her off, which is crazy because aren't you a lawyer? Shouldn't you know definitions? Aren't you good at that? She says, so Mr. Peterson, let me just tell you that you do understand that you're under the same oath as if you were testifying in trial in court. He says, absolutely. And my answers are very accurate, Miss Henderson. My answers are very accurate. She says, okay, I'm just going to tell you if there were a judge here today. Oh, there's not? I guess maybe they have somebody just. So I guess it's just child. So okay. And I'm just going to tell you if there were a judge here today and you were testifying like this on the stand, then the judge would you like to take a break to understand what's going on here and questions? He said, Miss Henderson, or are we going to go back and forth and do this all day? He said, hey, Miss Henderson, I don't need you to tell me what hypotheticals would have happened in court and what a judge would have hypothetically said to me. Like, come on, be a lawyer, do your job. Let's get this over with, okay? Do your job. That's all. She says, okay, have you ever testified in court before? He said, I don't know. She says, okay. He says, I don't know if a deposition is a court thing. She keeps trying to freaking tell you it's the same thing as being on a stand under oath in the courtroom. The oath that you took here, which he agreed to in the beginning, it's the same. Child. So he said, I don't know. You asked me if I've ever was deposed before this, so I just don't know. I think so. So she says, have you ever testified under oath in any capacity before today? He says, I think so. She says, okay. And when you say you think so, I think so. She says, why do you he cuts her off. Why do you keep asking me for a definition of I think so? She says, I am asking. He said, you are a smart woman. You know what I think so means. She says, okay, you need to let me finish my question before you answer. And then he says, okay. She says, so when you say you think you may have testified under oath in the past, what do you recall about the past testimony? He says, that's why I said I think so. I don't remember. She says, okay, so you don't remember about anything about what you've testified in the past. Hence the 3 words, I think so. Okay. Yeah, he says, hence the 3 words, I think so. She says, okay, do you know what case you testified in? He says, Michael Hayden, is she like illiterate or something? Oh my gosh. Wow. Clutch my pearls. So his attorney says, no, she's just asking the question if you ever testified before. So Tori says she might be hard of hearing or something. It just doesn't make any sense. Are you hard of hearing, Mrs. Henderson? Ms. Henderson says, do you know what the subject matter was you testified about before? So Tori says, so I got to answer your questions, but you don't got to answer mine. Tory Lane is cutting up in here. So Ms. Henderson says, so Tory cuts her off. He says, are you hard of hearing? His attorney then says, right now we have to answer hers technically. So Ms. Henderson says, I'm going to ask the question once more, and then I'm going to move to strike as non-responsive. Do you know what the subject matter was that you testified about before? Tory Lane says, not that I can recall. She says, okay, and you chose not to testify at your criminal trial in December of 2022. Tory says, you are asking me a legal question that I'm not answering. She says, okay. Tory then says it has nothing to do with this case. Mr. Hayden, attorney-client privilege, instruct not to answer. So Mr. Hayden says, so he say it has something to do with this case. And then Mr. Hayden, his attorney, says, attorney-client privilege, instruct not to answer. So then Ms. Henderson says, okay, so the record is clear. You objected first, Mr. Peterson, and then your counsel objected. Ms. Henderson just says, I'm just asking. Tory says, is that funny to you then? Ha ha, that's funny. Is that a lawyer joke or something? And Ms. Henderson said, did you testify at your criminal trial? Tory says, is that a lawyer joke, Mike? His attorney says, objection, Fifth Amendment privilege. Instruct the witness not to answer. So then Ms. Henderson says, okay, so let me finish my question, and then you can launch your objection, Mr. Hayden. Mr. Hayden said, you finished your objection. I objected right after you finished your question because I missed the last one. Ms. Henderson says, okay, I did not finish my question. So she asked a question, did you testify at your criminal trial in December of 2022? That's a yes or no. So Tory says objection. And then, so she says, okay, I don't see. And then Tory says, don't ask me anything about any criminal proceedings that have to do with my case on a criminal level. How about that? She says, I'm simply asking, did you testify? Tory says, objection. So she asks another question. Okay, just again, for the record, you are not answering my questions. Tory says, objection. She says, okay, let me finish my question so I can have a clear record. So, and Tory cuts her off and says, I object. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. So she says, we can then bring it to the court to decide. He said, Tory says, I object. So Ms. Henderson says, did you testify at your criminal trial in December of, he cuts her off and says, I object. The court reporter says, okay, I can't get this when he keeps saying I object in between. Like, there's no way I can possibly get this. And so Tory says, she keeps asking stupid questions, Ronnie. I am trying to help her. Oh my goodness. Y'all need to get Tory Lanez. What in the... I think they should just call this whole thing off. He's non-responsive. He's not answering any questions. When he answers questions, it's not going to help them any. And yeah, I'm frustrated. And I'm not the one even in the courtroom asking the questions. I'm frustrated. He calling the court reporter by her first name, Ronnie. Lord. So, Mr. Peterson, I will object for you. This is his attorney, but we have got to wait until she is done with the question. And then I can object like I did the first time. She's just rereading the same question. Tori says she should have waited to wait for that hair dye. It is the wrong blonde. I'm not doing it. I'm not doing this. I don't know how much more of this. What? He got a lot of Let me see if I got the toupee picture. Hold on, y'all, because Tori wrong for talking about her hair. He is dead wrong. Oh, he better be glad I don't have the toupee picture uploaded here to put up here on this screen. You got a lot of talk about anybody's here. Did you see the picture of yourself when your lace front toupee or something was coming up and it had all the looks like glue, or maybe could have been like dandruff? It's just disgusting. I have the picture, but I have to go and save it and then bring it over. I'm not doing all that. Tory Lanez, I'm gonna do all that, y'all. I'm sorry. Let me get this picture real quick. Cause Tori, this is you gotta be freaking kidding me. That you talking about somebody's hair, and not when they got these pictures out here of your hair like this. And I don't know if nobody told him, but they daggone should have. And I'm about to let it be known. Just give me a minute. Tori. Child, not Tori out here talking about somebody's hair. Child. Not Daystar Peterson out here talking about somebody's hair. Here you go. Hold on, y'all. Let me just. I gotta do this because he ain't gonna be out here talking about nobody here, y'all. Let me make sure I can blow this up as big as I can and save this so I can show this to the people, child. I'm not gonna remove background or nothing. I'm just putting the picture up as is. And Tory Lanez should not have interrupted this lady to say nothing about her hair. Y'all just give me a moment to upload this picture. Because, child, give me a second. Because this is my duty to do. Because the Daystar, you tried it. Can't believe you in there acting like that. Child. Let me see if I can get this over here. Because y'all need to see this. Tori, you over there talking about what? Come on, son. This out here is the wrong blonde, and he done pissed me off. He pissed me off. I'm about to show y'all real quick why he shouldn't be talking about nobody here. Here we go. This is exactly why he shouldn't be talking about nobody here. If you don't know, that is a wig and is lifting. And they were supposed to make him take this off of his head before they took any pictures while he was booked in. That is his hair that's lifting. It's, as a matter of fact, it's not dandruff, that's the glue. Because his hair is lifted up on this side over here. I just wanted to just, bring awareness to his hair. Because he don't have no business talking about nobody here. But this is just a mess. This is crazy. But he said again, this is Tori saying she should have waited to wait for that hair dye. It is the wrong blonde. But anyways, go ahead. Child, Ms. Henderson said, did you testify at your criminal trial in December of 2022? His attorney says, objection, Fifth Amendment, instruct the witness not to answer. Ms. Henderson says, so I'm going to put some cases on for the record. Mr. Hayden, because my simple question was whether or not he testified. And you do understand that the Fifth Amendment privilege only applies when there's a reasonable cause to fear criminal liability. That's United States versus Argomenes and Ronnie. I'll give you the spelling. Yeah, I think he was always. I think he was held in contempt. I think they do. I think that's the outcome. I'm almost certain it was. I used to think he was cute, but jail is weighing him out. Well, that picture that they showed of him was when he first. I never thought he was cute. Never. He never did anything for me. But that picture was before he got that picture was when he first got arrested. So she says after, and she gives the case number, not reading all that, and that must be contingent on it must be sufficiently real that there is a likelihood of prosecution, and that is in Engelbrick versus Worthington Industries Inc. And so, Mr. Hayden, is it your position that the question of did you testify at your criminal trial in December of 2022 is subject to the Fifth Amendment privilege? Mr. Hayden says, I withdraw. Low. So all that and you wrong. I withdraw. He can answer yes or no if he has knowledge. Mr. Peterson, did you testify at your criminal trial in December of 2022? Okay. Can you hear my question, Mr. Peterson? So he is not responding to the question for the record. He did confirm earlier he could hear me, and now he is not responding. So, Mr. Peterson, I will ask once more for the record. Did you testify at your criminal trial? So Tori says, hey guys, the audio keeps clipping in and out. So sometimes I can't hear what she's saying. It just clipped out. I didn't hear anything she said in the last 5 seconds. She says, okay, let's go off the record and get Mr. Hernandez back in. So it says, it's fine with me. Oh, so Tori says, it's fine with me, big dog. So the videographer goes off the record. He's kind of like proving the case of what the people that are representing Milagro what they are saying. He's kind of like making that case. That's the first question she was trying to get him to answer. Did he give them any clearance or, anything about the statement they made about this deposition before it happened? And basically what they said in the deposition was he's not going to answer any questions. He's proven them right. He's not going to answer anything correctly, or he's proven them right, right here. And I don't think that it worked out for him in the end. So they're back on the record. So it says, she says, sorry, Mr. Henderson, what is that you were saying right before we went back on the record? Give me 1 second. Let me see. This battery is getting ready to die, so I'm going to change it before it does. All right. Let's see. Oh, all right. Got some percentage. Okay. So she says, sorry, Mr. Peterson, what is that you were saying right before you went back on the record? He says, if it wasn't on the record, it's not important. She says, oh, okay. Are you telling Ronnie, the court reporter, that she is the right blonde and did a good job? He said, I said no such thing. What are you talking about? She says, okay. He says, are you putting words in my mouth? She said, this kind of makes me, he says, Miss Henderson, are you putting words in my mouth, Miss Henderson? This kind of makes me feel scared about the rest of this. And then he says, she just put words in my mouth, Michael Hayden. And he said, I understand. Let's just go forward with the record. And so then Tori says, how is she allowed to say that? And then, so Miss Henderson says, okay, so Tori cuts her off and says, no. She just did something she's not allowed to do. She's not allowed to say what I said or to fake any say that I said something I didn't say. You can't do that. What are you doing? He said, Miss Henderson says, okay, I don't want to have to bring Ronnie, the court reporter, in as a witness. And so the Tory says, Miss Henderson, is that what you are doing? And then his attorney says, we were off the record. She was making a comment, but we were off the record. So then Tory says, no. Is this what you do in your cases? Is this how you handle your cases? Do you put words in people's mouths? And so Ms. Henderson says, so Mr. Peterson, I'm going to go back to you. He cuts her off and says, so you are skipping what I'm asking you now, because you just asked me something on record about something that was off record and tried to say something, but you put that in my mouth. I'm asking you, is that how you conduct your services? She says, Mr. Peterson, I am the one asking the questions here today. He says, well, I'm clearly asking you questions right now. I mean, you can answer or not. I mean, it's very simple. And so then Ms. Henderson says, okay, the question I asked before we went off the record was, did you testify at your criminal trial in December of 2022? Yes or no? He finally says, no, I cannot. She says, okay, you are being represented here today by Mr. Hayden from Unite the People, right? She says, yes. Oh, his attorney is from Unite the People too. See, I didn't know that. So she said, you understand that your counsel representing you here today is also Miss Cooper's attorney in this case. What? I did not know that. Oh my goodness. I did not know that, y'all. I did not. So she said, so Tori says, I'm not really aware of what they do beyond me. But she says, do you know that Mr. Hayden is also representing? He said, I'm not aware. I'm not aware what they do beyond my scope of me. She said, okay. Did you meet with Mr. Hayden or any other attorneys to prepare for your deposition today? He says, when you say meet, what do you mean? She said, what does the word meet mean to you? He said, well, I asked you for the Webster Dictionary version of meet. If you can explain that to me, just for clarification. She said, I'm asking you the questions. What does the word meet? He said, well, I don't have, she says, mean to you. He says, well, I don't have access to the same things that you have access to. I'm sure that you are the one asking the question. So what does meet mean? She said, okay, so he said it could mean a lot of things. I mean, meat could be a hot dog. Meat could be a steak. Meat could be red meat. It could be a lot of things. You know what I'm saying? You can watch corn. What? Meat is a whole thing different over there. Meat can be anything. I'm asking you, what is your definition of meat? I cannot do it. Y'all, this gotta be a joke. This gotta be a joke. Tori gotta be playing around. And so she says, did you talk to Mr. Hayden before your deposition today? He said, no, I did not. She said, okay, did you talk to any other attorneys before your deposition today about your deposition? He says, no. She said, okay, did you talk to Caesar McDowell, the CEO of Unite the People, before your deposition about your deposition? He said, I don't understand the question you are posing. You just answered the question the same way above that. Like, he needs to stop playing. So she said, who is Caesar McDowell? Tory Lane says, who are you? Like, do I just put one man in a one definition? Who is this man? I don't know. He probably has many lawyers to him. I don't know. What exactly do you mean by who is this man? Do you mean who is he spiritually? Or do you mean who he is physically? Do you mean who he is personally? Do you mean who he is? He like to me? What do you mean, Miss Henderson? Please clarify. So then Miss Henderson says Caesar McDowell. Caesar McDowell is the CEO of Unite the People. Is that right? He said, well, if you knew who he was, then why are you asking me? What the F? But he said the whole word. Let me see if I can get my sense of go. See if I can get my sense. He says, what the? That's what he said. Mm-hmm. Why is he being this way? So she said, I'm not. He said, what the? He cuts her off. She says, my question. He said, why are you asking me? If you knew who this guy was, why are you asking me who he is? You know already. And then she says, I'm going to move to strike as non-responsive. My question is, Caesar McDowell is the CEO of Unite the People. Is that right? Tori says, I mean, I'll let you tell it. You clearly know him. She says, okay, are you refusing to answer my question? He said, no, that was my answer. I'll let you tell it. You clearly know him. That is my answer. Put it on the file. Thank you, Ronnie. What in the whole entire disrespectful world is going on here, Tory Lanez? Child. So she says, okay, did you talk to Caesar McDowell before your deposition about your deposition? He says, not that I can recall. She says, okay, did you speak with anyone to prepare for your deposition today? He said, nope, I don't recall. She said, did you speak with your dad, Son Star Peterson, about your deposition? He says, I don't recall. Now, you know they got the phone records. Lord help him. So she says, okay, you don't recall one way or the other whether you spoke to your dad about your deposition today. He said, at this very moment, my brain slipped and I do not recall. I cannot. She says, okay, did you speak with your dad, Son Star Peterson, about his deposition? He said, I don't recall. She says, okay, did you know that your dad, Son Star Peterson, was also deposed in this case? He says, I don't know. She said, okay, if your dad, Son Star Peterson, said he spoke to you about his deposition, do you have any reason to dispute what your dad is saying? He said, if he said it to me, I just don't recall at this moment that conversation. It could have happened. It could have not happened. I just don't recall. Tory Lanez is in here cutting the punk up. I would love to get the deposition of his father, Allie. I'm just putting it out there. I would love to get that deposition, get my hands on that one. So he says, okay, so you don't recall whether since Friday you've had any conversations with your dad about the fact that he was deposed in this case. That's your testimony. He said, Miss Henderson, I'm in prison. There's a lot of things going on, and I do not recall that right now, amongst the other things that I have to deal with on a daily basis. She says, okay, did you review any documents to prepare for your deposition today? He says, I'm sorry. She said, did you review any documents to prepare for your deposition today? He said, did you review the documents on the color of the dye you were going to use for your hair? Why? Why, Tori? Look, Tori, I just got, you don't have the right to talk about nobody's here. You just don't have the right to be talking about nobody's hair. Sometimes you got to just put up a little reminder. Child, Tory Lanez is cutting up. She says, I moved to strike as non-responses. I'm going to ask again. He said, that's a real answer. I don't understand. That's a true answer. She said, did you review any? He cuts her off and says, why are you striking what I'm saying if these are my answers? So she says, so my question to you is, did you? He said, you are striking my answers. Why are you striking my answers, Miss Henderson? Can you explain that to me? Yeah, he thinks he's clowning her, but he played himself. So she says, let me ask my question for Ronnie's sake before you answer. Did you review any documents to prepare for your deposition today? He said, but you didn't answer my question, and I feel like it's starting to be like it's one-sided, like you are not allowing me to understand what I need to understand so I can understand. She said, so Mr. Peterson, he said, because your hair is distracting me. He said, your hair is distracting me. There's a reason for what I'm asking. Your hair is distracting me. She says, okay, I'm going to go off the record and stop this deposition at this point. Let's take a 5-minute break, a 10-minute break. And then Tory Lane says, enjoy yourself. So at 10:56 a.m. Pacific Standard Time, they went off the record. They are back on the record at 11:01 a.m. Tory says, I just want to say on record that Miss Henderson's hair is distracting me. So he just picks right back up where he left off as soon as they went back on the record. At this point, I may be giggling, but it's not funny. I mean, this is not funny. And I'm proud to say that he is from Canada and not from the United States. We can say that. We got enough going over here with what's going on here in the United States. And so he does not represent our people. And I'm hoping that nobody loses sight of the fact that he is a Canadian from Canada. And I'm just going to put it like that. This is why we have so many issues and problems not being taken seriously. This is something that is very serious. You're sitting in jail and you're making jokes and being disrespectful and rude, talking about her hair is distracting at this point. It is crazy. He does not represent who we are and the people that we stand for. He represents his father because he talks just like his father, and they are all from Canada. Right over there. I'm sorry, Allie. You know you're my favorite. I'm sorry. But these are ninjas I'm talking about. This is crazy. Why is he doing it? Like, why is he doing this? We have enough trouble, enough problems. People think they take us for a joke. But not only is he making it bad for him, so they got problems with both of the people that they are representing. Because Milagro Grams could have ended this a long time ago before it even got to these stages. She's the reason why it's continuing. And now the reason why she got this stuff added to her case. Anyway, let's move on. He has pissed me off thoroughly. All right. So then she asks him, so before we went off the record, my question to you was, did you review any documents to prepare for today's deposition? He says, I don't. I understand. Can you say that question again? She said, did you review any documents to prepare for today's deposition? He said, did I review? What do you mean by review? What does the word review mean to you? She asked him. He says, what does it mean to you? So I can answer your question clearly. She says, okay, did you look at any documents to prepare for your deposition today? He said, what does the word look mean to you? She said, what does the word look mean to you? He said, it means, I guess, looking at something. Ding, 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 ding. So yeah, did you look at any paperwork? He says, but what does it mean to you, though, in the context you are asking? She said, okay, did you look at any documents to prepare for this deposition today? He says, you are asking the same question. Mr. Hayden says, you are not getting out of this one. The witness says, fine, no. So why did you listen to your attorney that time, but you didn't listen to him before? Like, what is going on? Like, what is going on here? So he says, how come we can't see the other person that's in your room? Ms. Henderson said, did you do anything to prepare for your deposition today? Tory Lane says, is there a second lawyer present? She says, I'm asking you, did you do anything to prepare for your deposition today? He says, 1 second, I will answer your question shortly. Then he says, Michael Hayden, does she have a second lawyer present? His attorney says, I wouldn't know. I am remote. I'm remote as well, just like you. If she does, they're from the same law firm, the same legal counsel. So Tory says, can I see that person? Mr. Hayden says, I can't. Ms. Henderson says, I'm going to ask you once more. Did you do anything to prepare for your deposition? Hold on, Tory says. You are not giving me, hey, Ms. Henderson, you need to give me the amount of time and the proper considerations to talk to my counsel. I am asking him a question and you are interrupting. Please stop. Thank you. So then Tory says, Michael Hayden, so can I see the person that she is in the room with? He said, you cannot. He already answered you. He said, there's court reporters and all kinds of people in the room, but I would. He cut him off. No. I am talking about in Miss Henderson's room. Isn't multiple simultaneous speakers? Miss Henderson said, so I am going to interrupt because this is my deposition. And you can ask your counsel about these types of while you are. He cuts her off and says, interrupt? Why are you screaming? Please lower your voice. She says, you can ask. He cuts her off and says, you are making me feel threatened. Ms. Henderson says, you can ask. Okay. The witness says, you are making me feel threatened. Ms. Henderson says, okay. So at this point, I'm going to suspend the deposition because the witness is clearly non-cooperative. So then Tory says, I am cooperative. Ms. Henderson said, let the record speak for itself. We can let the record speak for itself. I will be moving to compel. And the witness says, Michael Hayden, you see this? She's not giving me a chance to speak. Is this boy stupid? Is he dumb? Ms. Henderson says, and this is not over. And so Tory says, she's not giving me any chance to speak. This is crazy. This is ridiculous. And Ms. Henderson says, okay, so Ronnie, and then he cuts her off. She's not even. Then his attorney says, let her make the record, though. Let her make the record. Let her make the record. That's a shame that your attorney has to tell you all those times to let her make the record. You're not answering no questions anyway. So then he says, Tory says, she's not giving me a chance to legally clarify with my counsel questions, and she's getting frustrated. And now she's intimidating me by screaming and raising her voice. Ms. Henderson says, okay, so I'm going to put on the record that at this point I am suspending the deposition because the witness is clearly evading my questions and is non-responsive, and we will be moving to compel this deposition with the court. So, Mr. Peterson, this is not over, and we will see you another day, which I'm sure I know you said that you have all the time in the world. So we will see you again for volume 2 of this deposition. Thank you. And so then Tory says, change your hair next time. The videographer says, if we are going to suspend here, I just need to get transcript and video orders for Tory cuts him off. Just comb it at least. Will you comb it at least? I can't, y'all cannot. What is wrong with him? Now I want to see a picture of Lord. Why he do this? his attorney will be quitting. You think so? I don't, you know, the sad thing is that, like, they have a lot of evidence against him because, you know, cell phones, they have a lot of messages going back and forth between his father and Milagro. And, you know, that is a big part of this case. And a lot of times that his father is speaking, he's speaking on behalf of Tory. So anything that, you know, Milagro received when I did the other video where there was money exchange, it was Sunstar, who was his father, the one that was making those exchanges. And I guess they thought they wasn't going to find it, but they did find it. Like I said, it was only amounted to $3,000, which is not enough for you to be, you know, going back and forth to court now. Now she's crying all over the place. She will never, ever try to defend another black man because nobody's helping her. Academics promised that he was going to help her with her legal fees, and he just ghosted her. But he's also been deposed more than once in this, you know, for this case. And so did Aiden Ross. So was Aiden Ross. He was just deposed last week. So, let me see. Let's finish here. So it says, so we'll just do it after. Okay, so after he tells her to comb her hair, at least, she said, the court reporter said, we'll just do it after. And Ms. Henderson says, yes, I will be ordering this transcript and this video. So then Tory says, thank you so much. Just comb it. That's all I ask. He's still going on. Sir, go back to jail because that's where you're going, and you're going to be serving more time than you thought that you were going to be serving. Herbert Freeman 3767 says, facts. Hello, welcome, and thank you for participating. This is crazy. It's crazy work. I can't believe, like, he's in there and he acted like this. Like, I didn't know that it was this bad. Like, Allie was telling me about it, but like just bits and pieces of it. And like I said, she just got the transcript to me, and this guy, like, I don't understand. And she tried to tell him in the beginning, this can be played for a jury. Apparently, Tory Lanez didn't care. All right, so let's see here. We got so Miss Henderson says, yes, I will be ordering this transcript and this video. And Tory says, thank you so much. He's still telling her to comb her hair. That's all he asks. The videographer says, and Miss Henderson, would you like it synced as well? Miss Henderson says, yes. Tory says, a comb, honeycomb. The videographer says, and Mr. Hayden, copy for you. Oh, his attorney said, no thanks. He don't even want it. His attorney don't even want a copy of this. So I'm going to have to check for always. I mean, you may be right. Tory is the last person to talk about someone's here. Herbert, let me show you. Let me show you why he shouldn't be talking about somebody here. I got you, Herbert. I got you. There you go, right there. Wig lifting, glue. I thought it was dandruff at first, but that's glue, because his wig is lifting on the side and everything like that. He's the last person that should be talking about anybody's hair. And when you take that rug off, you're losing your hair at the top of your head. So I'm not understanding where he was going with that exactly. But, you know, each time that he said it, because he started this thing about her hair a while ago, I just had to make sure I bring the picture over so that the people could see exactly why Tory Lanez should not be making, you know, statements about other people's hair. But nonetheless, let's go, because he's still going. This is crazy. So Mr. Hayden, his attorney, he does not want I thought it was dandruff, but it's actually not. That's glue. He was wearing a lace front. That's glue. And I'm not understanding. That's when he first got locked up. And I guess apparently they couldn't tell that it was a lace front and that it was glued down. Maybe Tori didn't realize that it was coming up. So listen, you can put your whole finger, your whole 2 or 3 fingers up under that, and that's what it was. But this is ridiculous. How he's acting. It's just ridiculous. So his attorney does not want this mess. His attorney say, no, I don't want a copy of nothing. I don't want no transcript. I don't want the video. I don't want none of this. And so he's still hollering out in the background, a comb. And so the videographer says, Mr. Pantier, I don't know who Mr. Pantier is. I'm gonna have to go to the front of the document to see if that's another one of his attorneys, because it may be. And Mr. Pantier says, no, negative. I don't want nothing. Here come Tory Lanez talking about a brush, a Barbie brush. The videographer says, if there's nothing else, I can go ahead and read us off here. Ms. Henderson says, thank you. Tory Lanez says, a comb. The videographer says, volume 1 of the deposition of Daystar Peterson in a matter of Megan Pete versus Milagro. He cuts her off and says, bring a comb. The videographer says, Cooper. Now off the record, the time is 11:06 a.m. of Pacific time. Tory Lanez says, bring a comb. Ms. Henderson says, thank you. Tory Lanez says, bring a comb. The proceedings conclude at 11:06 a.m. I have never read anything in a court document like that. But what he did, and now, because I did not know that him and Milagro has the same attorney. And I did not know that his attorney, I knew, you guys heard me in the beginning, I said I knew that was, her attorney, and they were representing her pro bono. Now, if somebody else paid her legal fees, and it's just, they're telling her it was pro bono, because it's mighty funny when her case got to a certain amount, they started telling her she would need to come out of pocket and pay, because the amount that her case was costing is it exceeded already what they normally the services they normally would provide. So I do know that she was over here trying to raise $30,000 at one point. Now she was caught destroying evidence. The judge did allow them to hit her with $100,000 sanction. So she now owes $100,000 to the courts for destroying evidence that she was told not to get rid of. So that was actually a deposition that they were doing for the case that is now before the courts, Megan against Milagro Grams, and that was, they were trying to depose Tory Lanez, and he made a whole mockery of everything, the system, the English language. Those the small. He's asking them, what does the smallest words mean? It's an embarrassment, and I just like to say, he doesn't represent us. I'm almost 100% sure that when he gets out of jail, he's going to be deported. And I know that they were trying to push for him to be deported now. And, I guess the United States is saying, no, we're not deporting him. He needs to serve his time first, and then they're going to deport him. So now I just want to I'm not going into anything with this, but I just wanted to talk about Pross from the Fugees receiving a 14-year sentence. And I thought, I know I'm not bugging, y'all. I know I am not bugging, and I know that Pross had got arrested a long time ago, like in the 90s. And I wasn't doing true crime or whatever. I actually was working in law enforcement at the time. So I do know that I thought that he had went away, had a lot of time. Maybe he came home and, now that he was just sentenced to 14 years. So sad. Um, it's crazy, but he was just sentenced to 14 years. Let's hope that, they start treating everybody equally, whether you are, selling, drugs illegally. That's what I thought for always. I thought that he was already in jail. No, the other day he was sentenced to 14 years. I thought that the man was in jail, like it went to jail in the 90s, and they said that he had so much time because they was trying to give him a charge like something like a RICO. But no, he just got sentenced recently to 14 years. So I'm like, oh, I'm kind of confused. Maybe he came home. He did some time and came home, but I'm almost 100% certain that when that man was that he had got arrested in the 90s, and they said that he was he had got sentenced to a lot of time. But nonetheless, Ross got 14 years. They have the big debate going on about Nicki Minaj. I actually looked up what's going on in Nigeria. It takes you about 2 minutes to look and see what's going on in Nigeria. So it is not just Christians that they are actually being attacked in Nigeria. They are Christians and Muslims. They are not asking, these people that are committing these crimes are not asking, what religion are you? They're not, that's the question that they're not asking them. They are just snatching people. A lot of these people have been held for ransom and let go. So all of the people have not, been unalived. So they were asked already by the United States if they wanted assistance. They said they do not. It is not a case that where only Christians are being attacked. They said the way their country is set up, and I just did a little research, and it's a man, a politician over there was talking about it on a platform that people have from Nigeria. It's like a podcast, and he was saying that Nicki Minaj should stick to singing Anaconda. I didn't say it. That's what that man said. She needs to worry about singing Anaconda. I said he had to pick Anaconda out of all of the, she made a lot of music after that, but it was funny to me when he said it, because I said, wait a minute, did he just say she need to worry about singing Anaconda? I fell out. It was funny to me. But he's saying this because it is not just Christians that are being sought out. He said the way the country is set up is that, he said, the Christians live like on one side, the Muslims live on another side. They coexist. These crimes that are happening it has nothing to do with religious beliefs. It is just people that are trying to extort others for money. But what Africa does have, some parts of Africa does have, and I believe Nigeria has, they're rich in oil. They have some other resources that people like to steal. And so before you want to get out here and jump out in front of, and a lot of people are saying, oh yeah, you have a lot of people from Nigeria that are thanking her and doing X, Y, and Z and all this other kind of stuff. And most of those people live here in the United States. They're only told what they're being told about what's going on over there. Nigeria said they do not want the U.S. interfering in their stuff. They will handle their own stuff, because especially the way they positioned it just made it seem like only Christians are being attacked. And I'm just saying that a little research goes a long way. A little research goes a long way because you don't know what you are dealing with. And I am just going to say that I agree with Tamika Mallory's sentiments when she says if the United States goes over there and starts unaliving people, that woman should know that she also has blood on her hands as well. So don't be bamboozled and used for people's narratives. But when the person that's using you and you both believe in the same things as it relates to children and how they're treated, what is going on in Trinidad where you're from, and they actually need somebody to stand up for them? Why are you not talking about the people that need help in Trinidad? People have to wake up. And you have, I saw some videos of people saying, if she didn't say anything, y'all would be saying something. If she said something, y'all would be saying something. No, the thing is, what she's saying is she's not really correct in what she's saying. And they're not going to let her know what they are thinking or what their rationale is about why all of a sudden there is such an interest in Nigeria. You gotta think 2 to 3 minutes it takes to just type in, do a little research, watch their TV, watch some of their, because if people don't know, all of the countries that they show you, if you notice, if it's not a destination area, they show you that all the bad parts of all of these countries. They show you the bad parts, but they never show you the areas that are thriving, which means it's just like the United States, just like the people here now that can't eat. Because you're giving money to other places and you got so many people that's hungry over here on your own soil. There's war going on against Americans on our own soil. And that's what you choose to use your big platform for. And you look stupid. And it is what it is. I'm just saying, it just bugged me out because it just took me just like a little minute. And that man was like, listen, Nicki Minaj. And he had the accent and everything going on. It was hilarious. Nicki Minaj. She needs to worry about singing Anaconda. I said, oh, he got jokes. They don't want y'all over there. Leave them people alone. But just like we didn't land on Plymouth Rock landed on us. They'll go over there and steal some stuff. If y'all know what it is, what I just said, I normally don't even talk about, but politics. This is not politics. I'm just talking about how she should have did a little more homework before she decided to get up there and give that whole speech and then get up and then say, Barbs, come on now, don't put your fan base in this mess. You sound stupid. You at the United Nations talking about Barbs. Yo, she don't represent us either. She don't claim to be African American. She says that she's Trinidadian and half Asian. F the black people. She only says she's part of us when y'all buying them tickets and spending that money. And she's sending y'all out on dog whistles to go and attack people. They better wake up. Because she's never really said that she was black anything, or unless it's something where she's fighting somebody like Cardi B or something. Now you're pro-black, but you never say that you're black either. You said you're Trinidadian and Asian. That's what you said. You never claimed to be black. I'm not a fan, so I don't care. And I ain't never. And y'all barbs don't come over here because I do buy back. Show up on my property, you going to be living in a body bag or in an ambulance. Pick your poison. baby, because I'm not playing with nobody. It is what it is. You got to do a little research before. You should feel used. You should feel played. But apparently, there's something going on up here that's not wired correctly. And it's such a sad thing that she doesn't have anybody at home, meaning her husband, to tell her to get offline, get the help that you need, because it's not good for your legacy. It's not good for your legacy. So she doesn't have that. So, and none of the Barbs can talk to her and tell her what she's doing wrong and why she should stay out of certain things. But it happens. And I almost felt myself feeling sorry for her. Like, oh my God, like she really doesn't really understand or know anything about what she doesn't know, like everything that she's talking about. Because I believe in Jesus Christ, or you believed in Jesus Christ, that does not mean that I'm going to say, oh, well, they're stepping on this person who's a Muslim. I don't care. I just believe in what I believe in. Aren't we supposed to be leading with love? You're supposed to love everybody. That's what I thought. I mean, that's just what I thought. Everybody's different. United States is a melting pot. Everybody's not going to believe in the same things. But does that mean that the person that I pray to is better than the person that you pray to? Unless, And this is why they say that the church and the government should remain separate. It should not be something that's together, because people are using their quote unquote fake religion to do all of the nasty things that they are doing. You never know who's going to help you, what color they're going to be, what race they're going to be, any of that. You just never know. How about just being a decent person? How about that? Just be decent. Just be decent. That's it. I'm just saying, just be decent. You don't have to worry about all that. But don't get out here and make it seem like there are not other people that are being persecuted there. It's like, okay, yeah, all we care about is the Christian. Like, we don't care about the Muslims that's happening. Now, what are we saying? It's not right. They don't want you over there. Keep your nose over here. How about you release the SNAP benefits to the states that haven't received their SNAP benefits, because some people didn't get their SNAP benefits. How about that? How about you feed the kids right here? How about y'all let some of those people go that are American citizens that y'all got them locked up because ICE just think they can just come and go around snatching people off the streets with their faces covered? How about that? Ripping children out of their parents' arms and stuff like that. I saw a video the other day. It was very disturbing to me. One of the three ICE agents surrounding a woman, and he had his knee on that woman's neck. What are we talking about? I have not seen that come out on her Twitter. I'm just saying, I'm just a small YouTuber, and I need to get off here before they act like I got a million viewers. I got a million followers, and this is why I don't talk about this stuff anyway, because I get too passionate about it. I'm just saying, just be decent, love everybody, do a little research before you go and get in front of a bunch of people that's making your platform bigger than what it is. You have people watching now from everywhere, Not just those people that blindly follow you. You have your platform now is magnified on a whole nother different level based off of you going in, aligning yourself with the person that you aligned yourself with. When you have people that are in Congress that are really fighting to get the files released, hopefully nobody sends them the interrogation tape of the man that you married. All right, y'all. So I'm going to go on ahead. I'm going to go on ahead and get out of here. And I'm still going to bring awareness that men get breast cancer too. Because of the stigma surrounding the word breast, we've changed the word to peck and or chest cancer over here on the Survivor Speaks channel. I'm going to continue to bring awareness that men get breast cancer too. And to all of my ladies, please make sure you are getting your mammograms, filling on your boobies to make sure that you are all right. All right. Don't you dare let anybody come into your house and disrespect or disrupt, the peace that passes all understanding. I am Survivor Speaks. I'll see you guys in the next live or in the next upload. For always, I'm going to see if I can go and check out what you sent me probably as soon as I get off here and end this. Thank y'all for watching. Peace. If you have made it to the end of the video, you are the real MVP. So don't forget to comment, like, share, and subscribe. And I'll see you guys in the next video. Thank you so much for watching.